Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Joan Vassos and Chock Chapple share milestone first date. Golden Bachelorette couple Joan Vassos and Chock Chapple have spent the last few months keeping their engagement a secret. Now that the season finale has aired, they are free to be public with their romance. They shared one of their first public dates with fans. Keep reading for all the details. Chock Chapple shares apartment hunting update. Joan Vassos had one restriction on finding love on reality TV. She said she would never move away from her kids and grandkids in Maryland. However, she compromised after getting engaged to Chock Chapple. She's not moving to his home state of Kansas. They will split their time between Maryland and the Midwest. The couple revealed plans to get a place together in New York City where they can spend time together throughout the year. They set off to the Big Apple a few days after the Golden Bachelorette finale aired. Chock took to his Instagram story after they arrived to share an update on how apartment hunting was going. He shared a pic of Joan intently looking at her phone. "So many apartments to look at and so little time," he captioned the snapshot. Joan Vassos and fiancé go on first date. One of the reasons they only had a little time to look for apartments was because they had a first date planned. In a joint Instagram post, the Golden Bachelorette couple revealed that they attended their first movie together in public. What did they see? They went to see the new Wicked movie starring Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. Bachelor Nation fans who tuned into Gen Tran's season of The Bachelorette saw ABC heavily promote the movie. Jen even went on a Wizard of Oz-themed date that included appearances by franchise alums Trista Sutter, Kelsey Anderson, Daisy Kent, and more. Joan and Chock's social media followers adored the glimpse into their dating life after the show. One fan had some advice to share. They wrote, "Keep strong you two. Communicate constantly and always put you two first before anyone." Another added, "Having fun and falling in love looks good on you both." Keep an eye on Joan Vassos' Instagram to see what other first adventures she has with her fiancé while in New York City. It was a night to remember, and a night neither Joan Vassos nor Chock Chapple had anticipated but would cherish for the rest of their lives. The city was alive with the hum of late-night traffic and the glow of neon signs that painted the streets in shades of pink and blue, but for Joan and Chock, time seemed to slow down as they shared their milestone first date. Their paths had crossed many times before, mutual friends, shared interests, even fleeting conversations, but it was only now, at this juncture in their lives, that the stars seemed to align. Joan, a successful graphic designer, had spent the better part of her 30s building a career that was both fulfilling and demanding. Chock, an ambitious entrepreneur who had recently expanded his family-owned business into new markets, had his hands full with his professional life as well. Yet, fate had a way of creating moments that didn't rely on time but rather on connection. The story of their first date was not about the beginning of a romance that had been brewing for years. Instead, it was about a shared journey of rediscovery, two people who, after years of different paths, were finally ready to explore what they could be together. Joan had known Chock in passing for years, but it was never more than casual exchanges at gatherings. Magnetic personality, and the way people seemed drawn to him. Joan had always admired his drive from a distance, but her own life had always been in a whirlwind, leaving little room for romantic exploration. Then came the text message, a simple inquiry from Chock after one of their mutual friends had nudged him to reach out to Joan. It read, "How about dinner next weekend? Let's make it a first, you know, like one of those things we always say we should do but never do." Joan paused before replying, a little surprised but not put off. She had always considered him charming, but there was something more compelling about his invitation. Maybe it was his honesty, or maybe it was the fact that they had both reached an age where superficiality no longer had a place. It was an invitation that felt right, in that moment. Their first date began with a walk in the park. They had chosen a quiet spot away from the city's hustle, a place where the trees formed an emerald canopy above them. The crisp evening air was filled with the earthy scent of autumn leaves, and their footsteps were muted against the gravel paths. As they walked side by side, they didn't rush to fill the silence with small talk. Instead, they let the surroundings set the pace, as though they were trying to find a rhythm for the evening that was both calming and exhilarating. "Do you remember the last time we were at this park?" Chock asked, his voice breaking the stillness. Joan smiled. "I think we were both at that New Year's Eve party. You were wearing that ridiculous tuxedo." Chock chuckled, rubbing the back of his neck in embarrassment. "I may have overdone it with the bow tie." Joan laughed, her eyes lighting up with the joy of recalling an old memory. At least it was memorable. They had known each other in passing at that time, but that night had been a blur of people, noise, and fleeting conversations. This night, however, felt different. As they walked together, they spoke not just about the past but about their dreams, the things they had seen and done in their lives, and the paths that had led them to this point. There were no pretenses, no walls between them. Just two people sharing in the experience of rediscovery. After their walk, Chock led Joan to a nearby rooftop restaurant that overlooked the twinkling city skyline. The candlelight cast a warm glow on the table, and the view from the top made the bustling city below seem far away. There was something about being so high up that made the world feel a little smaller, a little more intimate. "Did you think we'd ever get here?" Joan asked, her voice soft as she gazed out at the lights below. Chock looked at her, his expression thoughtful. "I didn't know if we ever would. But I'm glad we are." Joan smiled, feeling a connection she hadn't anticipated. There was something comforting about the way Chock spoke. He wasn't trying to impress her, just being honest and present. It was a quality she had come to admire, especially after years of navigating relationships that lacked such genuine simplicity. As they shared a meal that evening, they found themselves talking not just about their careers or their accomplishments but about their personal journeys. Joan confessed that she had spent much of her 20s focused on building her career, leaving little room for personal connections. Chock, too, admitted that he had been so consumed by his business that he had neglected to nurture relationships that were more than just transactional. "This feels easy," Joan said, as she sipped her wine. Chock smiled. "It's probably because we're not forcing it. There's no pressure."